Hello, class. Good day to everyone. Today, my topic is all about organizational environment to be presented by your Professor Mendoza. I want you to get your notebook and list down the possible additional definition of every terms that I'm going to discuss today so that you could answer efficiently in the day of midterm or final examination. So the presence of a specialized staff frees the manager from routine activities, and that is the organizational environment. It is important that the manager has the trust and confidence in the people around him so that he can delegate fully and effectively the task of his or her department. So it is important that the use of computer system is a must for storing the information, and data can help monitor the effective performance of the staff. So talking about the organizational environment, it is the environment of an organization that is the internal and the external sector that affects its design and performance. It is the playing field of an organizational domain. And these are the environmental elements that the organization seek to interact, which are necessary to accomplish its vision, mission, and goals. Forward. All right, so we have here the following sectors that are external and internal environments, and we're going to discuss at least 7 of it. First thing, the industry. So the industry includes those organizational operating with the same goals, same purposes, and products. And these organizations are the same business. Bakit the same business? Kasi they are providing the need of the competition in every sector of organization. And the state of the industry plays a significant role in the survival of the organization. It also helps determine the goals of the organization. Next, we have the source of materials and other production inputs. The external environment usually provides the material inputs either for the production of new products o kaya for internal use in communication. It is important that the organization maintains good relationship with the supplier of inputs to operate effectively. Next, we have human resources. It comprise the external and external environments. And talking about internal, when the employees are hired to do the job necessary for the effective operation of the company. They are the external environment when they serve as a potential manpower in the company's expansion program. They organize themselves into unions that may be favorable or unfavorable to the existence of the organization. So in many cases or instances, they create trouble rather than help the organization to expand. Next, we have the financial sector. Anong ibig sabihin ng financial sector? Money is the name of any organization. And the financial sectors are the banks and other financial institutions. So the availability of money with low interest rates encourages organization to grow. And organization need outside sources of funds to grow fast. So financial institutions control the exchange and the interest rates. Next, we have the customer and other stakeholders. So the customers buy the goods and services of the organization. And the market influences the growth and expansion of organization. It is the determinant, no, of the existence of organization. Kaya nga yung market expansion increases the company's profitability, no? But if it shrinks, no, the company has to cut back its operation. And stakeholders' patronage is necessary in the growth of an organization. Next, we have the advancement of technology. So technology updates help the organization and diversify into new products and services. It influences the level of skills and the improvement in the quality of products and services. Kaya nga yung technology updates, it increases organizations' competitive advantage. Next, the country's economic condition. So the general economic condition of the country affects an organization health conditions. No, paano? Unemployment kasi, no, it reduces economic activity as there can be an excess supply of goods in the market. No, high interest rates and inflation reduce the purchasing power of the people, while the excess production capacity affects the organizational health conditions. Okay. So next we have the government. The government, no, it is the political system of the country that highly affects the organization. And the government regulates, no, business operation, flows of inputs, imposes tax, no, and passes laws. These are the government. It imposes conditions on environmental safety, fair trade, yung mga practices ng fair trade, product subsidies, no, label statutes, and establishes several guidelines for the organization to follow. Sometimes, the government provides protection to some favored organization. Number 9, the socio-cultural environment. So this sector refers to the demographic characteristics of the society. So when you talk about demographic, it is the condition that refers to age, income distribution, the workforce, educational level, and the place where the people live, no, either rural or urban. Our value system of love for important goods, no, affects our local industries. And we love education, but the level of our achievements are far below as compared with advanced countries. Next, we have the internal community. No? The international community, no, that provide the greatest competition for quality goods and services. It also provides for quality opportunities to exceed our efforts against our imports. No? And the problem is the reverse condition where we are having more imports than exports. And we consume more foreign products due to our value system and our inadequacy to improve our products. We should create a balance of trade with the other countries. So at present, the backbone of our economy is to export of our own people. Next, we have to study now the structural dimension. No? Now, the system views the organization as ongoing activities of change, and organization changes with the time and the conditions, no, that prevailing within the environment. So people change in values and human perspectives. So in the same manner, an organization must adapt, no, to the changing conditions prevailing in its present conditions. So there are two types of organizational dimensions, and one is structural dimensions. Ano po bang ibig sabihin ng structural dimensions, sir? Structural dimensions provide concrete level, no, to describe the internal organizational characteristics which create a basis for measuring and comparing organization. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng structural organization. But we have several features of the structural dimensions. No, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, let's discuss first what does it mean by formalization. So, formalization class, it pertains no, to the amount of written documents in the organization. So, these documents are necessary for accreditation in the International Standards Organization, or what do we call ISO, or even it is needed in PACOCOA accreditation, no, which are being granted, no, to every college and universities who wants to be accredited by this PACOCOA. The documents, no, that include systems and procedures in doing the work of several people. And workers must have written job descriptions and job specifications, no, in accordance to the policies of human resource management. So we have operating policy manuals which are properly documented. And periodically, it is being updated and audited as to its compliance. No? Okay, next, specialization. Ano namang ibig sabihin ng specialization? It is the division of labor into specific functions to carry out the tasks of the organization. So employees have different talents that can be utilized, no, by the organization to its advantage. It creates simplicity and job performance, no, for our class. Okay, next, standardization. Ang standardization class, ito ay isang process no, where procedures, machines, materials, and measuring instruments are set to repeatable or attainable level, no, as basis for measurement of performance. Again, basis siya for measurement of performance and are performed in a uniform manner. So the set of standards are established, no, to produce uniform quality of products and services. And the work details are described and done uniformly in the same levels of operation. And next, we have hierarchy of authority. And talking about hierarchy of authority, it refers to the chain of command, no, chain of command in the organizational ladder. Usually, it identifies the reporting relationships. It also specifies who should report to whom. And when the span of control is wide, the hierarchy of authority is shorter. And when it is narrow, the hierarchy of authority tends to be tall. No? Okay. Next, talking about complexity. Complexity class is the number of activities, no, or subsystems within the organizational framework. It can be measured in 3 dimensions. No, and we have several dimensions like vertical complexity. And talking about vertical complexity, it refers, no, to the number of levels in the hierarchy or the ladder of authority from highest to the lowest level. So that is from the president to the levels of supervisor and subordinates, which are rank and file. Next, horizontal complexity. No? Ano naman ibig sabihin ng horizontal complexity? It pertains to the number of departments or sections in the organizational line of authority, which is arranged horizontally siya. No? This one refers also to the major line department, no, such as manufacturing, o kaya yung finance, human resource, pwede rin siyang marketing, purchasing, o kaya other departments depending on the size of the company. Next, spatial complexity. So it is when the organization develop branches or subsidiaries and they are located in different areas or places in the country or region. And this one refers to big corporations and control systems held by the management team or corporate body. One example is that is McDonald's, Jollibee, and some fast food chains who have different branches located in different parts of the country. Next, centralization. No? Let's go now to centralization. All right. What does it mean by centralization, class? So centralization is defined as the hierarchical level of authority in decision making. So it is more focused in decision making. And there are two levels of authority for decision making. One is centralized. Pag sinabi natin centralized, it is when the decision making is done at the highest level and cascaded down to the last subordinates. That is, for example, the president or the general manager makes the decision and the subordinates to follow. Next naman, class, may tinatawag tayong decentralized. It is when the lower level managers are given the authority to make decisions within the foreview of the policy guidelines approved by the management. So usually managers are given a free hand in decision making subject is to certain policies and guidelines. That's provide excuse me. All right. So next po, we have professionalism. Ano naman pong ibig sabihin ng professionalism? It is the level of formal decision or education required of a manager and subordinates for them to function effectively in their line of work. So to develop managers and employees, management conducts training programs specifically designed for effective job performance. So what does it mean by a personal ratio? So personal ratio, class, is the proportion of the total number of employees spread in the different functions in the organization hierarchy. So we have functional analysis that measures one department or section that is under the staff or overstaffed. So organizational interventions and job evaluation are required to measure the right proportions. Next, we have contextual dimensions. So ano namang ibig sabihin ng contextual dimension, class? So the dimensions that provide the basis for measurement and analysis of the characteristics of organization and reveal significant information. And we have several dimensions under the category of number one, organizations or organization size. We also have organizational technology, organizational environment. And organization refers to the statistical number of employees in the total organizational setup. It refers also to the number of employees under each department or section. So talking about organizational technology, it pertains to the use of modern facilities in the production of goods or services. It is also measured in terms of how it is applied efficiently and effectively in transforming inputs to quality outputs. That's why we have electronic data processing, or what we call EDP. Next, we have organizational environment. So this one includes the government per se, and industry, whether in customers, or suppliers, and the financial community. So principally, they are the outside elements, no, that affect the proportions of the organization, which at times is beyond its control. Next, we have components of organizational structure. Okay, so we have number one, organization structure designates, no, formal reporting relationship. So the organization structure class is reflected in chart or drawn in boxes, no, representing different departments and sections. So it is a visible representation of the total company setup and the underlying activities and processes. So there are three components, which are organization structure that designates a formal reporting relationship. So it includes the number of levels, no, in the organizational hierarchy, and it also defines the span of control, no, of managers and supervisors. Next, we have organizational structure that identifies the grouping together of individuals according to functions into departments. Ano man pong ibig sabihin yan? So it specifies the grouping, no, of departments and sections into the total organization. Next, we have organization structure po that includes the design of communication linkages. Ito naman po ay this one ensures, no, that coordination and integration of efforts, no, towards goal achievement are effected, no, among the different sectors. So the three elements class of structure pertain to both vertical and horizontal aspects of organizing. And the first two elements, no, are structural framework, which are reflected in the vertical hierarchy in the organizational chart. So in the third element class actually pertains to the horizontal interactions to provide information, no, and effective coordination across departments. Next, we have line organization. So designing the organizational structure class is an ordinarily considered, no, as a matter of choice among a large number of alternatives. So after considering the major jargons of the organizational design, we have to look, no, back to the purpose and on objectives, no, that shall be suited, no, to the needs of the company for them to be competitive in its industrial world. So looking on the many companies, no, organizational structure, we all find them that there are line and staff type organization. No? We have to put them into boxes in the structure that is a matter of top management choice. So the line organizations, no, talking about it, usually we have companies operation management, no, wanted more control of the operation, and along this line of thinking, top management usually have the decision of making it more centralized. So we have line managers which are responsible for the elements who have responsibility and authority for the direct, no, accomplishments of the primary objectives of the organization. So we also have the vertical line of authority, which emanates, no, from the top of the organization down to the chain of command. So line managers class have clearly defined roles to play. And this one requires understanding of the nature of line authority and the line relationship. And number one nga class, we have the line authority. No, the meaning of this is that managers, no, are identified in the line which are getting direct command, no, from the top of the line. And the line within the company is the relationship that identifies and connects people in the chain of command. No? And the decision has to be approved on the next higher level unless minor decisions are authorized. Okay, next we have the line as the chain of command. So the command relationship class exists between each superior and subordinate. So in accepting the line responsibility, it is clear that the line manager served only as a staff assistant to the top of the line. So they are subordinates to his superior's authority and responsibility. So the managers obligate himself to obey his command. Okay, next book. We have the chain of communication. Advantages of the line organization. Okay, so we have number one, organizational problems are solved quickly, no, as top management are in control of decision making. And we have the red tape, no, is at minimum level as there is a centralization of authority. Next, we also have responsibility that is well defined. So this simply line of communication that is present and single accountability, no, can be maintained, and we can better that responsibility to make up the better organizational control if we are going to work hand in hand. Okay, next, less overhead expenses. No an additional staff of the line managers also provide functional activities, no, to the top executives. Okay. Next, we have the disadvantages of line organization. So when the organization expands its operation and growth becomes inevitable, no, and the management refuse to heed the idea of change, the following are the disadvantages. So number one, there will be an increase in the load of line managers. No, there will be an overburden, no, with the conceptual and the technical activities, and it will result in the loss of effectiveness unless they are highly talented and dedicated, no? Next, we have the chain of command that becomes longer, no? As the instructions, no, has to pass through different channels, no? And the layer of supervision and actions created red tape. Next, we also have the existence of the inadequacy of the managerial specialization, wherein the company's expansion program may be at stake. And we have the over centralization of decision and authority, that is tend to develop dependent managers and supervisors. This will also hamper, the development of managerial creativity and initiative. All right, so we are done. Thank you for listening. But I also have a synchronous activity to each one of you. Number one, what is an organization? Number two, why organization is important? Number three, how do we make dynamic and sound organization? Number four, I want you to give the features of an effective organization. Number five, what are the areas to be identified in organization management? Number six, discuss the growth of specialization. Number seven, discuss the procedure in designing an organization structure. Number eight, what are the factors to be considered in the number of people manager that can effectively handle? Number nine, I want you to discuss the advantage and disadvantage of line organization. And number 10, what is organizational structure? So thank you for listening, class, and God bless each one of you.